Josh, I have to ask you, are you and I witches or fortune tellers?
We must be one or the other because we put out the call to Hallmark on our socials begging for a season 2 of Hope Valley 1874. And mere hours later, we got word it's been renewed for season 2.
The power that we have. That's why you guys should listen to us and be here for the podcast, because really got Hallmark on the line. They care what we think.
They must. But before we get to season 2, we have to break down the season 1 finale, and we'll do that right here, right now on Do You Watch What I Watch?
Sit down and watch, then have a talk with Jennifer and Josh.
Today we are going to determine if the season 1 finale of Hope Valley 1874 gets gold or coal from us, and we're going to also talk about predictions for season 2. The plot summary for episode 8, it's called All That Glitters. Gearing up for the boarding house's grand opening, Rebecca and Tom grow closer while investigating a series of robberies. Olivia struggles with a big decision. Let's go. Okay, so if you've been with us on this journey through season 1, we usually kind of go character by character. This one's a little trickier to do that because there's a lot of interwoven stories. So we're still just going to hit the high points. Hang with me. We're going to get there. Okay, so we've got Rebecca, Sarah, and Tom in the boarding house, which, as we've discussed previously, must have been on an episode of Extreme Makeover Boarding House Edition because it looks decked out to the nines, and they're
So
getting
well put together. Yeah.
they're getting ready for the grand opening party, even though there are plenty of tenants and it already seems very well open to me. And Tom is looking for any opportunity to be near Rebecca, and he's playfully helping set up bunting and table runners and things to jazz up the place that he was so against in episode 1. The growth Tom has had should be talked about and discussed. He's really coming around to this whole thing, i.e. Rebecca and Sarah.
Yeah, it's clear that he's a bit of a smitten kitten at this point, and he definitely has taken a liking to her. And I think it's because he doesn't just think that she's hot. I think he genuinely seems attracted to her personality and the way she just goes for it. She's a real go-getter.
Oh, yeah. She's so strong, and she's really proven herself in these hard Western times. Rebecca, I think, wants to like Tom too, but Pa, her husband, has not been gone that long. So she's upstairs looking at a family photo, and her ring is hanging on a necklace from it that Pa had given her, and she's missing her some Pa. After there's been gold stolen down at the prospectors' gold mining camp, and the town is abuzz. Where is the gold going? The miners show up at Rebecca's boarding house looking for Mountie Vaughn because he resides there and kind of holds court there. Well, he's not there. He was taken a prisoner somewhere. So while they're there, they're like, hey, can we get a tour of the boarding house? So Rebecca gives the miners a tour. Well, shouldn't have done that because after the miners leave, her ring missing. MIA.
Gone.
One of those sticky-fingered miners must have gotten his hands on it, which Tom, is like, I was right, they stink, Can't trust a prospector as far as you can throw them. Rebecca, then is like a little sus about this guy, Mr. Maxwell. Now, he showed up last episode. He's kind of like this, British accented guy who's never mind a day in his life. He's kind of like bumbling around. He doesn't really seem to have the same schedule as a miner. He's just kind of doing his own thing. And he's got a bag that, who has, maybe dead bodies or something in it. Her alarm bells are going off on this. So when he goes down to the river to explore, she sneaks into his room. And the amount of anxiety I had when she was rummaging around in his room should be studied as well, because I was very nervous.
Because you don't know. He could have had a gun. He could have had a knife. He could have been a bad guy on the run. We just didn't know. There was a lot of mystery around him.
Yeah. So he shows up and she's in his room. And of course, he's not too keen on her having been there. And then Rebecca doubles down on the mystery, sees Maxwell going out into the woods later that night, and she's going to follow him because what if he took her ring? I mean, all things were fine in the valley until Maxwell showed up. Now gold's missing and her ring's missing. And Tom was like, I'm going to go with you, because that's how he talks. He's always got that raspy voice. So they take off in the woods to not very stealthily track down Mr. Maxwell. And he's digging in the dirt and he's dug some holes. That's all. We don't know
That's
what
all.
else is going on, but it's suspicious nonetheless, right? We're
Yeah.
sus.
Yeah.
And then Rebecca and Tom have this, moonlit glow, gaze in each other's eyes. And I think he was, he had this goofy grin, like Cheshire Cat grin, like Tom would have kissed her in the moonlight if she would have been down for it. But she says, Tom, I don't know how to move on without letting go of the past. And I don't know how to let go. And Tom says, okay, I understand. And it was so good. I thought they played this scene so well. And she's laying it out there. It's not that she's not interested, but she's just like, hey, bro, recent widow here. Like, I'm going to need some time,
Need a
rightly so.
minute. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
They're like, let's let Constable Vaughn take the search for the robber from here. Okay. The next morning, Tom's down at the prospector camp because he can't do his actual rancher job. How much ranching has Tom done this season? Very
So
little.
little.
He's
Very
been
little.
meddling. He's been flirting. He's been watching Rebecca plant some alfalfa, and he's been ticked at Doyle. That's been Tom's big things. Oh, and he was also held captive a couple episodes ago. So, he's been busy with other stuff, but he's prying down by the river. Rebecca can't be left alone either, goes to snoop again in Maxwell's room, and she finds a map with a bunch of X's on it. What could that be? She then interrogates Mr. Maxwell and says, hey, it's my responsibility to know the borders are trustworthy, and asks about the map that she found / stole. And he opens his case, and it's just a bunch of rocks in there. Well, that was anticlimactic.
Very.
He tells her he's there looking for coal. I'll snap. Cole,
Aw,
of course
snap.
he's there for Cole,
Of course he's
because
there
we
for
have
Cole.
seen enough of When Calls the Heart to know that it was originally called Coal Valley because there was a coal mine, and we had to get to the coal. I just didn't think it would be that soon. It caught me off guard. What did you think about this?
Same here, and I had to love it. I know, of course, gold or coal is very much central to our podcast. This felt like a love letter to us, honestly. It felt like a love letter.
It did. It did. I have to believe that the writers of Hope Valley 1874 really had us in mind when crafting this episode.
For sure. Without a doubt. Yeah.
So then, the miners are all in a tizzy because they don't know who stole the gold. Doyle, the bad prospector, evil, Tom's nemesis, turns in a bunch of gold to Hattie at one point. It's like $200 worth of gold, which would be a lot today, much less back in 1874. That's mucho money. Constable Vaughn's like, Hattie, have you seen anything suspicious? She's like, well, Doyle did this, so it could be Doyle. They don't really know. Then another guy sees a guy with a hat on and a horse, and he's rummaging around where he keeps his gold. He's like, hey, that's my gold. And the guy takes off on his horse. And then he tattles to Vaughn and Tom, and they take off on their horses after the robber. And Tom's horse is faster than Mountie Vaughn's, which I think they need to look into.
Yeah.
Like, we need to upgrade the horses for the Mounties, I think. Can we take them
Well,
a
of
love
course,
offering?
exactly. And of course, Tom was like, my horse knows these parts.
Yeah.
So
They catch the thief. Turns out it was Jeremiah. Now, Jeremiah was not a bullfrog, as the song may tell you. Jeremiah was one of Tom's original OG ranchers who made the move earlier this season to pan for gold because his fiance needed some money. So he is the most honest robber in all the land because we're on Hallmark. He has a little notebook where he has written down everything he's stolen from everybody, including Rebecca's ring. But oopsie doodle, he's already sold all the gold and the ring at towns nearby, so he doesn't have it anymore, but he's gonna pay him back. And it's just his fiance was gonna lose their farm, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So what is going to happen there? Put a pin in it. Side quest. Tom has been talking to this guy named Leroy who wants to sell his land to Tom. And Tom's like, everything the light touches is going to be mine, on my ranching hands. And he wants to expand his herd, but he needs the cash by tomorrow. So Tom had already earlier said, hey, Hattie, that money I owe you, can I just not give it to you for 30 days? Because I need to use the money elsewhere. Excuse me? Pardon? Why? No, you should give me my money now. What? Hattie was too kind in this moment.
very kind, very accommodating, very.
But, she says her late husband would have wanted that, whatever, that you do gather that Hattie and Tom have this long-standing friendship. I kind of thought we'd see them interact more this season than we did. We saw them in season 1, and they've talked, but I wanted more Hattie-Tom banter.
Well, and presumably they've been there among the longest of anybody, And so you're right. It would have been nice to see them interact and that relationship, that friendship develop over the season for sure. Maybe next season.
Maybe so. Olivia, our bachelorette Olivia. She's got Clayton on one hand, Mountie Vaughn on the other, and then the third hand, because she's an octopus, I guess, she's got all these tendrils, is do I go away to college in the big, big city? She's torn. She's looking for a sign. She also is trying to teach Sarah how to waltz. Clayton, the woodworker, walks in and sees that. He freaks out. Turns out he doesn't know how to dance. So there's another side thing where Peggy, the woman who couldn't read, Nash's wife, is teaching Clayton how to dance so he could impress Olivia at this big boarding house grand opening palooza. Okay, so we've got Clayton working hard to learn how to dance to impress Olivia. Mountie Vaughn's just
There.
there. Okay. Okay. To be continued. It's party time is what I wrote in caps. Okay. So this is where all the little stories come together. You know, we've had these glimpses and glimmers of everything. And finale, here we go. Nash, the guy who's nearly lost his leg a few episodes ago, he's standing on both legs, playing the fiddle, really getting down with it at the party.
Yeah. Can carry a tune too.
Yeah,
Loved
Rebecca
it.
looked amazing in this gown. She was literally glowing. Whatever bronzer, like Hope Valley bronzer they've used on her was really working for her. It was like the satisfaction of a job well done and relief and a glimmer of some money coming in. She kind of had that new money glow.
Yeah.
There's dancing and merriment. Vaughn comes back in. He's returned with Tom, and they tell everybody, hey, yo, we found the bad guy. It was Jeremiah. And they're like, what? He was a prospector. No, he was a rancher. Well, he was both. And Tom's like, maybe we shouldn't judge people by their occupation. We can all live here in harmony, kumbaya, etc.
The
Okay.
big moral lesson of season
Yes.
1. Yes.
Tom has worked out a deal that Jeremiah is going to work on the ranch and use his wages to pay back everything he stole. Yeah, but then he'll still be broke. So
Problem not solved. No.
not really problem solved, but here we are.
No.
Vaughn then sashays over to Rebecca and gives her her ring back and says it was recovered from the nearby trading post where Jeremiah had stolen it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
She's tickled pink about it. Mr. Maxwell turns out he found coal on the property that Tom was wanting to buy from Leroy, except Tom used his land money to buy back Rebecca's ring from the trading post, but didn't want her to know that. So he won't take the credit for it. He doesn't have the land. He's also still in debt to Hattie. Tom's just losing left and right here, but he seems very content. He has a content look on his face. But when they said, oh, there was coal on that land, you could tell he was just like, of course there was coal.
Of course there was coal. Yeah,
And then,
exactly.
as if there was no more salt to put in Tom's wounds, here's some more salt. Doyle bought the land that Tom wanted. His arch nemesis. I love this payoff. I thought this was such a smart move to
Yep.
further their storyline and that they're not going to be like BFFs because they're still going to have a little rift with one another. I thought that was great.
Yeah. I think that was a really good way to do that, where it sort of sets it up that they're going to be neighbors and also nemesis in season 2. So I'll look forward to seeing that unfold more.
Yeah, totally. Olivia, she's looking for a sign. She asks, she sees Vaughn. He asks her to dance. She's like, Vaughn, I've been, I might go to college away. And he's like, you have to go. You need to go to the big city. And she's like, oh, you don't want me to stay? Well, that's not the sign she wanted.
Mm.
Peyton, on the other hand, breaks in, interrupts to have a dance because he's learned to dance. And she tells him the same thing. And he's like, no, you can't go. You can't go. Or if you go, you have to come back. You're the heart of this town or whatever. Which was, I think, just the words that Olivia wanted to hear. What did you think?
I think so. I had to laugh, though, because this felt very much like a Bachelorette moment where Clayton just kind of swooped in and is like, can I steal her for a minute? As we've laughed
Definitely.
about before. And she really is just playing both sides of this. You could tell, like, she does not know which one of these two men she really wants to be with. And she was waiting for a sign and waiting for the stars to align and the whole 9 yards. So she is confused, thoroughly confused, I think.
And she's definitely at a crossroads. And I mean, to be fair, I think we've given her a hard time, but she is a young 20-something-year-old on the frontier who probably hasn't had many men to pick from. And now she's
No.
got 2 eligible bachelors pining over her. She'd probably like the
suitors.
attention. Who could blame her?
Yes.
Have
Yeah.
some fun, girl. Whatever. But I hope she cooks Clayton. Okay. So Rebecca figures out what Tom did, that he bought the ring back. She asks Tom to dance. Their chemistry is on fire, and the episode's wrapping up. So I'm like, how are we going to end this thing?
Are we getting a kiss? Yeah.
Are we
Is
going to
it
get a
gonna
kiss?
happen?
Are we going to get a
Yeah.
cliffhanger? Did they not do a cliffhanger because they weren't sure if they were getting renewed for season 2? These are questions I had in the back of my mind. And she says, "Did you give up the land for me?" And he says, "I'm just happy your ring is back where it belongs." And she says she needs to hold on to it a little while longer, but one day she will pass it on to Sarah when she's ready. She then puts her head on his chest as they're dancing, which is very intimate for friends to
Very,
dance like this.
very. Mhm.
It's like they're the only ones in the room. We're panning back, beautiful shots. The extras were doing some kind of dancing.
Something. It was
They
like a
were
gentle
like,
sway. It was like a
it
sway.
was kind of like they were animatronics. I don't know. It caught my attention. We could have done better there, but here we are. Then knock knock on the boarding house door. Another constable shows up. Turns out it's Nick, his buddy from earlier this season. And he says there's a thief in the settlement. And yeah, he's like, yeah, we got him already. His name's Jeremiah. He's like, no, no, not Jeremiah. Then they whisper and they talk. Vaughn walks up to Rebecca and says she's under arrest and they have a warrant. Tom is ticked. They are like, Nick almost puts handcuffs on Rebecca. And to Vaughn's credit, he's like, that won't be necessary. We don't have to break out the handcuffs. Sarah is screaming for Mama. Rebecca yells, Tom, protect her. The end of season 1. Okay, Josh, did you have a favorite scene? What moment
Mm.
stood out to you? Do you give this episode overall gold or coal?
I'm gonna give it gold. I thought it was a great finish to season 1. That cliffhanger at the end wasn't just a cliffhanger, it was also a surprise, right? Because I was going into it thinking, "Oh, there's gonna be a knock on the door, and it's gonna be this mother-in-law that we saw a couple episodes back showing up." I thought from jump, that's what we were going to see, and we didn't, and I like it, because now I wanna know, what's the allegation here? What's the theft that we're talking about here? Obviously, we heard about the potential of this whole kidnapping, she took Sarah across the country kind of thing. Theft? There's been no mention of theft. I'm intrigued. So I thought the whole cliffhanger of it all was awesome.
It was so perfect because I agree. I was waiting for the mother-in-law to pipe up somehow, and she didn't. And most other shows, they would have done that, and it still would have been fun. But this was left field. I really love that scene too because it shows how close this community has gotten. You have Vaughn, who could have been a hard-nosed guy, but instead he was like, "Okay, chill out, other constable. Like, I'll be the one to tell her the news. I'm gonna go and approach her about it. No, we don't need the handcuffs." You have Tom, who's mortified because he's in love with her. Hattie grabs Sarah, like, and consoles her because her mom's being ripped out from her arms. It just really warmed my heart in a way I wasn't anticipating. Even the prospectors were like, "Oh, but what? We're supposed to be
What?
the bad guys.
Exactly.
She be stealing
Well,
stuff?"
and I honestly think it's because Rebecca has really earned these people's trust over the season, right? Her boarding house has kind of become this rallying point, this community center, if you will, where
Mhm.
all of these different people kind of intersect. Obviously, there's a lot of prospectors who live there, but she's friends with Hattie, and of course, she's friends with Tom, and she's housing Mountie Vaughn and the whole 9 yards in his office, quote unquote, his remote workspace, I guess you could
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. He was working remote before any of us were.
Exactly, exactly. But I think that is just such a great way to position her character as kind of the Venn diagram of everybody else, right? And so I think going into season 2, this whole subplot of her now being incarcerated, didn't see that coming, is really going to, I think, send shockwaves through the rest of the ensemble as it goes.
Yeah, and it's not like Tom can just spring her out of jail. He's got no money. He just bought a
No,
ring back. He's broke
exactly.
as a joke. Yeah.
Broke as a joke. Yeah.
So I would give it gold. You would as well? It's worth
Absolutely.
the
I think it
watch?
was very satisfying, worth the watch, and I certainly hope, and you got to think they will, especially with season 2 coming out. They're going to put this on Hallmark later this year, and I would hope that more people give it a shot because it is really well done. It's not cheesy. It feels very true to the time era, and of course, Bethany Joy Lenz and Benjamin Ayers are just knocking it out of the park in these roles.
Yeah, and even though there's a bunch of characters, which I get confused with, I'm really liking all these, like, B characters as well. They've done a good job at pacing them well. and developing their characters without shoving it in your face. It's a slow burn. It's a slow burn. So,
Agreed. So what do
yeah.
you want to see more of in season 2?
I hope we don't yada yada this incarceration. If we're gonna do it, let's like drag it out for, 2 or 3 episodes. I don't want it to just be we come back and it's magically, oh, it was a mix up or whatever. I want to really like let's prolong it a little bit. Let's see what happens. What about you?
I'm with you. I also want to see them do more with Sarah's character. I
Mhm.
think that there's a lot there for her daughter to be exploring. She's kind of on the brink of maybe finding a little love interest of her own. So I would love to maybe see her kind of have maybe like a little boyfriend in
Mm.
season 2, something going on there, I think would be great. And then, of course, I want to see Olivia make a choice and
Oh my
decide which of
gosh.
these two guys it's going to be and the fallout when the other guy isn't the one chosen, because I think that's going to be interesting to see play out.
Who do you think she'll pick?
I got to think she's going to pick Clayton, and I
I think
think
so
she'll
too.
wind up staying there, and I think that keeps her kind of in the mix with Mountie Vaughn, who's still going to be in the area, and I think lets that kind of simmer and potentially boil over at some point.
And then she can help take care of Sarah too while Rebecca's locked up. That'll be
Yes, exactly. In the slammer.
in the slammer. Yeah. So, did season 1 give you everything you wanted, Josh? You have famously said about other movies and things, it gave me everything I
Everything I
wanted.
wanted.
So,
Yeah,
looking back on season 1 as a whole, yeah.
I would say pleasantly surprised. I think it did give me everything I wanted. I was not necessarily super excited because I think I said at the onset, I'm not really one for this kind of historical drama kind of plot, right? That's not
Mhm.
usually what I go to the network for. But this is good storytelling at the end of the day. And I really like, again, the leads. It just keeps me coming back. And I'm excited that they seem to be excited too about this
Mhm.
show, which I think really says a lot.
Yeah, they all seem very invested and very proud of it. I do have one other hope for Hope Valley. My hope is, season 1 has had this darkness and this grit to it that I really enjoy without being depressing. I hope that season 2 is not butterflies and rainbows because let me tell you, I'm watching One Calls the Heart season 2. It's pretty much butterflies and rainbows. It feels like a different show. It lacks that grit
Mm,
that I liked in season 1. Now, I've only watched like 3 or 4 episodes of season 2, but that's why I'm not binging it like I was because it's just a little the cheese factor is up. So I hope we can hold on to some of the grit and reality as much as we do on a Hallmark program.
well, there you go.
There you go.
And that, dear friends, is another episode of Do You Watch What I Watch? Hey, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on a YouTube channel. And special thanks, as always, to our good friend Nick Shores for our amazing theme song.
That's right. And hey, now that Hope Valley's done, you're probably wondering, I want more Jennifer and Josh in my life. What am I going to do? What are they going to talk about next? Well, next time we're going to talk about a Godwink movie, which is sure to have some conversation. Then we're going to have our Mount Rushmore episode where we're going to each bring our top picks for actor and actresses on that should be on the Mount Rushmore of Hallmark. And then in June, we're going to talk about Hallmark Hanukkah movies because there's a bunch of them. We've talked about a couple. Typically, they're very good. So I'm excited to dive into more of them. And then we'll have, before you know, we'll have Christmas and July content. So stick around. We're not going anywhere. We just won't have Hope Valley to talk about for now, but that's okay. Stay with
Yeah,
us. We're
we'll
glad you're
circle
here.
back. We'll
Yeah.
circle back. Yeah. One thing is for sure, as you've come to expect from us, we're going to have much to discuss. But until we see you next time.
May your days be merry and bright. Bye, y'all.